There are whispers in the town of Kariha, especially when the mist clings low and the jacaranda trees shed their violet tears. The elders say if you listen closely, in the hour before dawn, you can hear her footsteps, soft, almost hesitant, walking the cobblestone path between the old post office and the forgotten railway line. They call her the girl in the green dress. No one knows her name, not truly, not the vendors who saw her glide past their stalls at dawn, nor the school children who paused mid-giggle to stare at her silhouette in the morning mist, not the old men who sipped strong tea on creaking verandas, nor the women who whispered behind woven baskets, clutching their shawls a little tighter as she passed. No one had ever heard her speak, yet everyone swore they'd heard her voice, in a song carried by the wind, in the rustle of jacaranda leaves, in the hush that fell when she walked by. But all remember her, not just for the way her emerald dress shimmered like water under moonlight, not just for her silence or her grace, or the impossible way she made time feel like it was holding its breath. They remember how she made them feel, like maybe they'd lost something long ago, something gentle and golden, and for a few brief moments she helped them remember it. She was a question wrapped in silk, a sigh that lingered after the dream, a mystery the town never quite solved, but never wanted to forget. She was first seen one August morning when the sun rose red as a wound. She stood at the corner of Market Street, a young woman with skin the colour of dusk and hair that shimmered like burnt sugar. But it was her dress, long, emerald green, flowing like a river around her legs, that caught everyone's eye. It shimmered not with wealth, but with something older, something sacred. Some said she had walked out of a painting, an oil portrait forgotten in a dusty museum, where women wore velvet gloves and men carried pocket watches. They said her posture was too poised, her gaze too far away, her beauty too untouched by time to be flesh and blood. Others swore she was a ghost, a quiet spirit drifting through the town like a memory. Some claimed she was the daughter of a woman buried long ago in the colonial cemetery on the hill, the same woman who was once known for dancing barefoot in storms and writing love letters to a man who never came back from war. They said the girl in the green dress was her unfinished story, walking, but the children, with their innocent certainty and hearts unclouded by adult reason, said something different. "She's magic," little Io whispered, clutching his sister's hand as they watched her from behind their mother's stall. "She talks to birds," said Kendi, eyes wide. "My brother saw her disappear into a wall," another boy added with conviction, and somehow the town believed all of it, because there was something about her, something unnameable, that made even the most skeptical pause. In her presence, dogs stopped barking, clocks seemed to tick slower, and the dust in the air hung suspended, as if reluctant to settle. She wasn't just a person, she was a possibility, of wonder, of old stories returned, of magic that never quite left the world. The girl never spoke, never bought anything. She simply walked, always at the same time, always with a strange grace that made time slow around her. She would pause at the dusty bookshop and run her fingers along the cracked spines through the glass. Sometimes she'd sit on the wooden bench outside Mama Kaloki's bakery, watching the world. When people passed her, they'd feel something shift, a memory, a longing, a sense that they had lost something precious and forgotten it until that very moment. And then, as the church bell rang for 8 a.m., that old bronze bell with its tired clang echoing through the misty rooftops of the sleeping town, she would vanish, not hurriedly, not in fear. No, she would simply slip away, as quietly and gracefully as she had come. One moment, she would be there, standing beneath the jacaranda tree with its blossoms falling like violet snow, the hem of her green dress catching the morning breeze. And the next, gone, as if the earth had exhaled and taken her with it. The few who dared to follow her never caught up. A shoemaker once claimed he saw her turn down Kintu Alley, but by the time he reached it, there was only a black cat licking its paw. A street sweeper swore she faded into the morning mist right before his eyes. Even the pigeons she fed beneath the old train station would scatter at the bell's toll, as if they, too, knew it was time. It became ritual. She appeared just before dawn, drifted through the town like a whispered lullaby, and disappeared when the day officially began. The hours between darkness and light belonged to her, and her alone. And every morning, someone new would rise early, just to catch a glimpse of the girl in the green dress, to see if today she would stay. But she never did. Not past the bell, not once. No matter how many eyes waited, how many children stayed behind bushes, or how many old men watched from their porches with breath held and heart pounding, she never lingered beyond the sound of that 8 a.m. bell, the moment the church tower let out its first echoing clang. Low and sorrowful, like a sigh from the heavens, she would pause, just for a heartbeat. Then, with a grace too quiet to be human, she would vanish, not run, not turn, vanish, as if the green dress carried her away like mist, as if she had only ever been a dream borrowed from dawn. Some swore they saw her dissolve into the air itself, like smoke from a sacred fire. Others claimed she became one with the wind, or stepped into an invisible door stitched between seconds. But all agreed she never stayed past the bell, and whatever world she belonged to, it wasn't this one. Every day, for 40 days, she graced the villagers with her presence. Until the morning she didn't come. The town felt it immediately. Even the wind moved differently that morning, as if it were holding its breath. The jacaranda blossoms didn't fall. The pigeons didn't coo. It was as though something sacred had been interrupted, and all of Korea felt it in their bones. Mama Kaloki, who ran the bakery near the corner with a precision that rivaled clocks, burned her bread for the first time in 20 years. She stared at the smoking loaves with wide eyes, whispering, "Something's wrong. I can feel it in my teeth." Mr. Jumba, the old retired headmaster who took his morning tea at exactly 6:15 a.m., dropped his cup just before it touched his lips. It shattered across the veranda, the sound sharp and sudden like a gunshot. He looked up, confused, eyes scanning the quiet street. A dog, thin, brown, and usually silent, stood on the edge of the road and howled. Long, mournful, as if calling out to something just out of reach. A baby woke up screaming in the flat above Mrembo Salon. The radio in the local tailor's shop flickered off for a full minute before sputtering back to life. Everything felt slightly off, and for those who usually watched for her, those who sat on benches near the post office or pretended to sweep just a little longer under the acacia tree, there was only empty space. No flicker of green, no swish of silk, no shadow of a girl gliding through morning mist. The girl in the green dress had not appeared, and that had never happened before, not once. Whispers rose like smoke through the town. Maybe she's fallen ill. Maybe she's gone for good. Maybe someone caught her. But no one truly believed any of those things, because her absence wasn't just a missing figure in the street. It was a rupture in the rhythm of life itself, like a song missing its first note, or a day that refused to begin. Korea held its breath that morning, waiting and wondering. What happens to magic when it disappears? No one said it aloud, but everyone knew. Something had ended. The bench outside the bakery stayed empty. Dust covered the shop window, but still, the people waited. Days turned into weeks, and soon, the story of the girl in the green dress faded into legend. Then one day, years later, a little girl named Zawadi wandered into the old railway yard chasing a paper kite. She tripped over something buried in the earth, a small, rusted tin box. Inside were pages, fragile and yellowed, filled with handwriting as delicate as lace. They were letters, all written to someone named Kendi. The first one read, "Kendi, if you are reading this, then the spell has broken, and I am free. They told me the green dress would bind me to the town until I remembered who I truly was. But I have remembered. I am love. I am loss. I am the hope left behind in every goodbye." There were 40 letters, one for each day she walked the town. Zawadi's mother, a school teacher, read them aloud at the community hall. By the time she finished, not a single eye was dry. No one ever saw the girl again. But each year, on the 40th day of the year, people gather in green, laying flowers at the bakery bench. And every now and then, just before dawn, A few say they see a shimmer, like silk in the wind, near the post office. They stop, they smile, they remember. Because the girl in the green dress wasn't just a mystery. She was a memory, woven in green, threaded from whispers, stitched with longing, and hemmed in wonder. A quiet poem in motion, walking the cracked streets of Kariha like a forgotten song that somehow everyone still remembered. Her presence did not demand attention, it invited it. Like the way the sun coaxes open a blossom, or the tide smooths the edges of broken glass, she moved through the town and softened something hard in all who watched. She reminded the old that they were once young. She reminded the young that mystery still lived in the world. Even the hard-hearted, the ones who scowled through their routines and scoffed at stories, found themselves pausing, if only for a breath, when she passed. For in her stride was something no one could explain, and no one dared interrupt. And then she was gone. Each morning she came and left like a secret shared only with the dawn. And yet, in her silence, she spoke the loudest truths. That beauty does not need to last forever to be real. That magic is often quiet. That to be seen, truly seen, is the most powerful gift of all. And so, long after her footsteps faded and the green dress vanished into mist, she remained. In stories told over market stalls, in paintings done from memory, in the names of little girls born with bright eyes and mystery in their smiles. She was no longer just a girl in a green dress. She had become something more, a symbol, a sigh, a question without an answer, a hope that maybe, just maybe, she would return again, even if only for a moment, even if only in dreams. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, share and subscribe to this channel for more stories.